welcome back. This is Alyssa here with The Goodell Life, and today I'll be talking about our experience of doing a 1 week spending freeze, which I know sounds absolutely insane, and it was, but I came away with some great tips of how we handled it and why we're probably going to introduce it once a month for at least the next year, hopefully two, maybe longer. And how that will help us with saving towards some goals and some debt reduction and for the wedding. So you're probably wondering where I came up with this, because this is an absolutely crazy idea. And I was actually really inspired by Jordan Page. She runs a vlog as well as a website called Fun, Cheaper, Free and budgetbootcamp.com. I'll link her video below. She's really inspirational, a mom of 5, and they make it work on a great budget. She goes on great trips. She's always looks like she has her life together, even though I'm sure we're not all perfect. But she's really inspirational and definitely somebody that I love to watch on here. And so one of the things she talked about in doing a spending freeze was to not prepare for it. And that sounds a little counterintuitive. I mean, you're not going to spend any money for a week, and that includes groceries and as much as you can, so preferably no gas or anything except for bills, and you don't prepare. Like, how crazy is that? But one of the reasons you don't give yourself a lot of notice or your family a lot of notice is so that it really forces you to use what's in your house to come up with some unique ways to have fun and spend time together without spending money. I know for myself, I might not have the largest home or largest pantry and stockpile of food, but even for me, without any notice, it wasn't that hard. I mean, it wasn't the easiest, but it wasn't that hard, and we never ran out of food by any means. So I know a lot of other people out there too, you have a lot of stuff in the back of your pantry and your closets and shelves that probably you should eat soon or else it's going to go bad. Look at the back of your freezer for some of that meat that you weren't too keen to use before, but now's the time to use it, so it's a great thing for that. But you're probably wondering, why on earth would anybody just spend a week where they're not spending any money? And truth is, people do this even longer. Some people do it for several weeks, a month. A couple people have even gone to the full extreme and done an entire year. So a week's really not that crazy. But where we came from with it was that we noticed we had been doing a lot of extra spending that maybe wasn't necessary or fulfilling us. Joe has a bit of a chip addiction, he should admit, but he probably won't. Where after work, quite a few times he was stopping at a grocery store and grabbing chips and pop. I had a sandwich addiction for a few months where I would go and I'd get a sandwich instead of eating the lunch I packed for work, or even bringing a lunch to work, because I really love the sandwiches at the grocery store in the complex I work in, and it just adds up. It honestly just really adds up, and we thought it was hindering us from getting to some financial goals we had. So that's why we personally chose to start it with a spending freeze. And when I say we, I mean more me, and I texted Joe without giving him any heads up, and he gave me all his cards the next day and was very unhappy about it. But I told him, the more unhappy you are, the more of the struggle and stress you are making about making this choice really shows the more of the reason why we need to do it. He agreed, and now he's totally on board with the idea, and he even suggested we do it once a month. So that just speaks to how much 1 week can really change your finances and your outlook on doing something as extreme as a spending freeze. One of the struggles we really had with it, I'll start with our struggles, was not eating out. Now, Joe and I, we eat out fairly often, especially compared to the average couple, just with our opposite work schedules. It's really easy for me when I'm working full-time to say, oh, you know, I forgot to pack a lunch, I'll just run over to the grocery store and grab something, even a sandwich or a frozen meal. And that adds up. That adds up, right? Like, it's $7 to $10, and then you're there and you see other things. Might as well pick up a couple extra specials for dinner, and now you're not eating what you took out for dinner, and it adds up. Even doing that twice a week, I mean, you're looking at like $20 to $30 a week just on that. Plus, Joe, if he doesn't bring something for dinner, if I don't make dinner or leftovers, or he forgets it at home, he's eating out at work. That's another $10 to $20, times that by 2 a week. How much money is that? Just right there, it's crazy. Plus, anytime we've been out together, if we go out for a date night or with friends and socialize, it can really add up. And so not doing any of that for a week, it is a challenge for us because that is a very social thing for us as well. Some of the other struggles we had too was because we didn't give ourselves much notice. So she does say to take a small quick inventory of your home and make sure you have enough of the essentials. If you needed any bread or milk or a couple eggs, to go grab that. But we didn't do that. And so at the end of this challenge, we literally ran out of toilet paper the day we were finally able to spend money. Like, it was, I got dropped off at work and I was telling Joe he needed to get toilet paper before he went back home, or else he'd be having a really tough time and having to call some neighbors over to help. And it was a tight call. The other one was because Joe's lactose intolerant and I haven't had dairy for a few years, but really being strict about it since January, and no treats even included in that, was we actually use almond creamer and almond milk. So while we had a lot of almond milk left, the almond creamer is sweeter, and so Joe ran out of creamer for his coffee, which he was able to use some milk, but it's just not the same for him. He really didn't like that. And we also almost ran out of gas, so we actually did have to spend $20 of gas during the end, I think 2 days before, so after 5 days, and we just put $20 of gas in the tank. So it got us through, we'll be fine, but another tight call there that could have been prevented had we actually followed the instructions properly and taken some inventory on what we had and gotten some essentials. Some of the positives of this, though, of not spending any money for an entire week, was we saved about $150 to $200. Now, one of the reasons this worked for us was we had just gone grocery shopping about 2 days before. I had watched Jordan's video and decided on doing the spending freeze. And we do our grocery shopping a little bit differently because of how I get paid on Thursdays. So we decided that we're actually not going to buy any groceries until I get paid again this Thursday, meaning that we essentially won't have bought groceries for a week in there. Otherwise, it would have worked out when we started the spending freeze that we'd end up buying groceries the next week and really not save any money with that. So just with the groceries alone was about $100, $120. And then we still had a little bit of spending money left over each, which we spent today on sushi, but we were able to save that as well. And then I have a little account called Extra of money that's on top of our individual spending money that's after bills and whatever, in case there's any really impromptu purchases that we have been looking for something, or if we wanted to throw some extra towards debt. So that's something that we had as well. It also helped recondition our minds. Not that we say yes to a lot of things that we want when we go out, but just that extra reconditioning of saying no when you're going out or being asked to go out. I went to Starbucks and shopping with friends, and I didn't get anything. I just had waters, and that was really kind of interesting when my friend had a coffee and I just didn't have anything, or if I had a water. I did go out on a Saturday night with a friend, and she did buy me dinner, which was nice of her. I do owe her a coffee for that. So I guess that was technically cheating, but I didn't spend any of my money during a week. Another positive of it was it did use up some food in our freezer that probably would have gone bad, in all honesty, if we hadn't done this. I had a leftover turkey from about, October in there. We also had a roast, so I got to use my crock pot, and then I made some bone broth, and I have a bit about that on my Instagram of how that's going. It kind of ended up being a bit of a mess, but that's okay. So we got some bone broth out of that. We got turkey for a few days, got to use some odds and ends around the pantry, got pretty creative with our meals. I know one night, or even for a couple meals, I used avocado and smoked oysters together, which was an interesting combination, but actually really good. It was kind of also a textural thing for me that I liked. I know it sounds weird, maybe it's not for everyone. And yeah, so overall I'd say that this was a really great experience. Joe greatly disliked it at first. He really struggled hard. I was good until a couple days before, about day 5 was kind of getting tough for me. But that's why it's called a challenge. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be something where you go through the 7 days and you're like, oh, that was so easy. I didn't need to spend any money anyway. It definitely takes some planning to your social life, and that you don't want to do this the week of Christmas or the week before Christmas, but it can definitely be something that helps you save some money quick, and you can put that towards debt or towards a vacation. Jordan mentioned that she's done this a couple times, and this is how she paid for her family of 7 to go to Europe for 10 days. So, I mean, that's just amazing. That shows the power of it right there. For us, because we're saving up for a wedding, even though it's about 1.5 to 2 years away, this will be a great way to just pad that savings a little bit extra and get to our goals closer than we'd like. So, it's something that we want to introduce again into our lives. I'll look at doing it again next month. If you have any questions about it, just leave a comment below. I'll also take her video. She has so many great resources about it that I really recommend people try it. And like always, like the video and subscribe to see more of videos like this and follow us on our journey. Thanks for watching. Bye. Joe, can you make sure it actually is recording?